For giving us an out.
Yeah. Okay, it's just as we wait for the thing to start going live, we would move on with our event.
Giving us an out.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start the meeting. It's 4:01. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Bahrain. Yes, I'm trying to mute. I'm trying to mute, but it's not being muted. Toastmaster Damika, can you please?
You can make me post.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that in a minute. I'm not able to mute. Yeah, it's done now from his side. Great. So back to this. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club, the first Advanced Toastmaster Club in the Middle East, if not even in Region 11. We are blessed to have all of the faces here around. And yes, it was not recorded at the beginning, but I'm blessed today that I'm having 3 DDs instead of just 1 DD who was giving me a hard time in District 20. I'm just joking. DD Salim, DD Joey, DD Merrill, thank you so much for joining us today. We are really honored to have you here in District 20 and specifically in Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club. I would definitely come to you as a presenters and give you fair justice by introducing you. But since we are having guests around, so this is the best time right now to have guests. The last time I started with guests, I always say that they come by bus. And I hope that the bus would not come just like that time. I started introducing guests, and all of a sudden there were 25 guests, and I could not stop. But let me take the chances today as well, and let me move on and introduce and go around and see our guests. And the first guest is the president of DUC, Toastmaster Sadia. Would you want to say a few words, please?
Yes, hello everybody. Good afternoon. How are you all doing? Hopefully everybody is fine. My name is Sadia Batul and I am President DUC Toastmasters Club. It's a recently formed corporate club and we are very happy to be here today to listen to all of you. So looking forward to your wonderful speeches.
Oh, thank you so much, Toastmaster Sadia, for joining us today. The meeting would really be fantastic if we have more guests. So you are enriching our meetings by attending today. Thank you so much. Let me move on. Thank you. The next guest, Toastmaster Damika. Would you be able to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I am Dhammika Hettiarachchi from Sri Lanka Jaila Toastmaster Club. So we are looking forward to hear good speeches today. And thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to watch very nice speeches. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Damika, for joining us in today's meeting. Let me move on to the next guest. She is a regular guest. I'm sure one day she would be also a regular member. Area 32 Director, Toastmaster Siham.
Thank you, member. Soon, inshallah. I'm so happy to be here today. Actually, I was completely enthusiastic when I saw the first ad for the meeting, and I believe it will be an excellent as usual. All the best.
Thank you so much, Sister Siham, for joining us and for being here and all of your motivational words. Okay, so it's without, it's not another guest, and everything that you do as well in the friends group. I honestly feel that you are a member. She is also greeting the guests that we have in that friends group. So well done, and thank you so much,
Yes, sir.
Siham, for
I feel
that.
so funny. Yes,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Great, what a great audience we have. I'm sure we would be having the bus arriving, but it's good that the bus did not arrive now. Let me recognize also the presence of the immediate past Region 11 advisor, DTM Ali, Shahbaz Ali, and Area 35 Director, DTM Zahra Al-Farag. Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club. Let me just zoom out and have it as District 20 family members. Earlier this week, I heard a bit of a sad news. One of the family members of District 20 passed away, DTM Priya. I never honestly met her, but the amount of warmth that wherever I attend during the meetings of District 20, everyone was speaking about her and all of them were talking positives. That's really glued my attention. And yes, definitely, I felt the sad feeling of a sister of ours to pass away during such difficult time as well. But the question that I was having in mind, what legacy do we leave behind when we not just leave the room of the meetings, when we leave life? The legacy that DTM Priya left is being remembered, not just by those who had interaction with her. Let me talk about myself, who I haven't even interacted with her. And this is the message that I want to have for everyone here as a mini presidential address. What legacy do we leave as Bahrain Advanced Toastmasters members when guests come to our club? It's definitely not about a meeting. It's definitely about life. And us as Toastmasters, we have the flagship of being leaders, where leaders are made. In moments of sorrows and in moments of happiness, we stand side by side as leaders of District 20. And definitely in Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club today, we have a lesson to learn. Let's keep that image. Let's be the ambassadors of Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club that we are known about. Yes, definitely being the first Advanced Toastmaster Club in the Middle East, it's a big ask, definitely on the XCOM of this club. And I wouldn't give justice, of course, without mentioning few names: DTM Farhaz Farouk, DTM Zahra Al-Mukharraq, DTM Said Abbas, DTM Ali Shahbaz, who might not be there in the XCOM active member, but all of your advices, DTM Ali, the energy that Toastmaster Farouk is bringing, the energy that Toastmaster Bitambaran is bringing, with Toastmaster Widad, that's what we are known for, and that's the legacy that we want to leave as Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today. Great. It's easy when the president is also the moderator. So now, I don't really need to introduce myself or come up with any introduction. I'm humbled to be the president of such a great club, Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club, and being humbled as well, being the moderator, learning from the great moderators, previous moderators like DTM Ali Shahbaz. I'm not sure if I'll be able to copy his style and moderation, but I will definitely try my best today. We have today 3 brilliant speakers, 3 brilliant leaders, not in just District 20, but in Toastmasters all around. 3 DDs who joined us all the way from their busy schedule. And I can definitely tell, as being also one of those trials, jumping from one place to the other, it's not really easy at all. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Didi Joey. Thank you so much, Didi Merrill, for joining us today and sharing with us your wisdom to us and to the members of District 20. So let me move on to the first workshop for today. Okay, before I move on to the workshop, because this guy, I can't really resist but to call him to introduce himself. He has been almost blackmailing me because I just had a flyer talking about masala dosa. He's still busy. He doesn't know that I'm talking about him. Please, can we hear anything from you? Area 12 Director, Toastmaster Khadr.
My great gratitude, Mr. Masala Dosa. It was really awesome and innovative idea to bring things to the mind, also take the mind back. Great to try, CGD and President. Well, I'm greatly honored to be here to witness this fantabulous, wondrous gathering. Back to you, President.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Khadr, for joining us here today and enriching our meeting. Let's move on now to the first speaker for today's meeting, and he is DTM Joey. DTM Joey is a certified public accountant, CPA by profession, certified associate financial planner, senior executive vice chairman, marketing director of International Marketing Group, working in Saudi Arabia for over 30 years. Wow, so this is just my age. In the field of accounting, finance, and audit. Currently working as an accountant manager at Ijzal Trading Company in Jeddah, KSA. A distinguished Toastmaster and a member for more than 25 years. Past district governor of Toastmasters International, District 79, Saudi Arabia. Currently the director of District 104, Saudi Arabia, Western Northern Region. With a workshop with the title, Poor or Rich Attitude. DTM Joey Villanavio, sorry for that, Villanova, Poor or Rich Attitude. DTM Joey, floor is yours. I just want to remind you to pin the timer, please, if not already done. Please help me welcome DTM Joey.
I could not find the timer now. I will see it.
I can pin him if that would.
Okay, yeah, please, Mr.
So,
GD.
I
Thank
don't
you very much, Mr. President, and our club growth director 20, the distinguished Toastmaster Khalid, and of course, thank you very much for the constant chat with our VP Education, distinguished Toastmaster Farhas. Now, the question that I wanted to give to all of us is that we here in Toastmasters are supposed to be leaders. And as leaders, we are servant leaders. But in order for us to be effective as servant leaders, we should have managed our own finances. In other words, we should be financially free in order for us to be effective leaders, so that we will not anymore be thinking of what will be the things that we're going to provide to our family. instead, we're going to be providing not only to the people that is very near to us, but to all that we serve. So the first question that you are going to ask yourself if you wanted to accept servant leadership is, are you financially stable in order for us or for you to be an effective leader? So that is the question that I wanted you. But in order for us to be financially free and to have that financial stability in order to be a very strong leader, helping others, then we should have proper mindset. And this mindset is something that we have to overcome as a challenge. Because I believe we have poor and rich attitude. So this time we are going to discuss about this poor and rich attitude. And I wanted that if you have poor attitude now, we have to change it to a rich attitude so that we will become a rich servant leader. Have you heard of the word or the phrase, money is the root of all evil? If you had heard this, then maybe somewhere in your mind it is sitting there. And when these words will be repeated and repeated, then it becomes part of your subconscious. And when an opportunity of earning is available to you, do you think that your subconscious is going to get and choose the rich attitude, or that attitude that money is the root of all evil? In other words, if money is the root of evil, then the question is that, do you want to have money or to be rich? Of course you don't want, isn't it? So I wanted to talk about it, and the presentation that I have may be some cultural differences. This is one I just ask you to understand, and forgive me for that. It will be like on a Filipino standpoint of discussing this one, and if there is any, then please forgive me. Now, the first question that I wanted the next question that I wanted to give to you then is that, do you feel that what you have now is a destiny? That what happened to us is already programmed in the beginning and it is already happening in our life? That our family has been struggling before, so I have to struggle now. If our family is financially living from check to check now, then I should also be to do the same. In other words, this is already happening to me, so I have to accept it. If we have that, then that is the poor attitude. And as Toastmaster, we have to change it to positive. And what is it? That our life is what we do. The future and our future is in our palm of our hand. And whether we wanted to be rich or wanted to be financially free, it is a matter of thing that we have to do ourselves. And we're not going to accept what's going on. So from now on, we have always to, as a Toastmaster leader, that we will always to say and be true to ourselves that we create a life that we wanted. We will not accept that life is just happening and we have to accept. No, we have to live and prepare for the life that we wanted. Do you have that attitude that I wanted to start a business, but maybe if I will start a business, I will lose money? So instead of starting a business, you're always going to postpone, plan, and then you're going to attend so many seminars until such time that you have not started that business. Why? Because you are afraid that you're going to lose money. No, that is poor attitude. As a Toastmaster, we should have the positive attitude. And what is that? If we are going to do something and play with money, we are going to play to win. What we're going to do, that when we are going to start a business, our mind should be, we're going to take profit, we're going to receive income, we're going to be successful in this business, and that negative or negativity in our mind should be taken out. Why? Because the moment that you have that negative in your mind, then if you're going to start, it will fail. Why? Because in the beginning, when you are going to start your business, it's already in your mind that you are going to fail. So what will happen? You are going to fail, not in the end, but in the very beginning. So when you are going to start a business, what is should in your mind that you will be successful, that you will have, and you are going to receive a lot of money and a lot of profit. And then this is the other thing. Do you know that poor people wanted to be rich? So in my seminar, I will ask people who wanted to be rich, and many people is going to raise their hands. And you know, when they are raising their hand, I say, well, that is the problem. All of us wanted to be rich. But if you wanted to be rich and you could not achieve it, then you are going to stop. The positive attitude is that but we are committed to be rich. What is the difference between want and committed? When you are committed, you are going to continue doing what you wanted to until such time that you're going to achieve your goal. Like what we have here in Toastmasters. If we wanted to be President Distinguished Club, when you are going to President Distinguished Area, you are not going to stop because there are some challenges or problem there in your face. You are going to overcome the problem, and you are not going to stop unless you're going to receive it or you're going to achieve that goal. Here in our Toastmasters financial journey, we should be committed to be rich. In other words, we are not going to stop until such time that we ourselves had achieved the goal that we wanted financially. Now, we hear this always, no? That you are going to have a big dream. But the problem is that, yes, in the beginning you have big dreams. When you are 3 years old, your dreams are so big that you wanted to be what you wanted to be. You wanted to be superhero, you wanted to be president, even king. But the problem is that when all these big problems or big dreams needs financial support, and when you find out your salary is small and you could not anymore finance your dreams, then you make your dreams small. No, we should not, isn't it? When we are going to have big dreams, then let that big dream there. We are not going to stop unless we are not going to achieve it. Because God did not plant that seed, that dream in our heart, unless it will be realized. So we are going to put that in our mind. And if today you have lost that dream, I wanted you to dream again. Because without dream, you're not going to do something in order to move you from where you are to a much greater opportunity. Now, we have this attitude. What attitude? That if there are problems, we focus in the problems until such time that you say, no, I could not do this one because of the obstacles that we have. Because of this pandemic, I could not move. Because of this pandemic, I could not earn more. But isn't it that the obstacle should be an opportunity? For those people who are positive, those people that are thinking rich, every opportunity is, every problem is an opportunity. So if there is problem, all of us should be happy. Why? Because this problem will create an opportunity for us to earn. This problem will create for us an opportunity in order for us to be much better. Imagine, because of this pandemic, then we even add more members. Why? Because before, those people that has an opportunity, don't have the opportunity to attend meeting because of traffic or because of distance and training, we can now have our meeting all together, even in different countries, in different regions. So this, we don't look for opportunities. What we wanted, we look for problems, because out of these problems, we find opportunities if you are positive. And I wanted you to be positive always. You know, there are people who look at rich as if that they rob the poor in order for them to be rich. In other words, you don't like to be rich. In my seminar, I asked people who love or hate, raise hands those who hate the rich people. And then the next question is that if you are hating rich people or you don't like rich people, then you will never be rich. Why? Because you will be mad at yourself if you will be rich, isn't it? So what we're saying is that when you see people and they are rich, you should not be mad at them. What we're going to do? To be positive, we should admire them. We have to follow what they did. We have to follow. If we saw successful people, we should admire them. Why? Because when we are going to study what they did, and we follow what they did, maybe we become successful also. Not only in our profession, not only in the field that we wanted, but also financially. So when you see people that are rich, they're successful, we should always admire them and then follow what they did. And if you're going to do this, then I believe that you will be successful. And this is positive mentality and attitude. Now, there are people who are very negative because they are dwelling with the people that are losers too. So if you are with the losers, then who you are, you're also loser. So what we wanted to, we should always come and join people that are positive. They provides answers to the problem. They're always cheerful even though they have some problems and troubles, not only in their life, but also in the business that they have. When you are around with positive people, then you will always have that positive attitude. Now, when you are poor people, then you are not going to promote. I always ask our people, do you love those masters? And they'll say, yes, I love those masters. So have you brought the Toastmasters, your family members, your friends, your colleagues? If not, then it means that you don't love those masters. Why? Because you are not promoting. There are people who doesn't and very negative in promoting, in selling. This is promotion is selling. If you wanted to go into business, you don't have any choice but to sell. Isn't it? When I ask people is that I don't want to sell, but you wanted to be a businessman. How can you be a businessman and be rich if you don't know how to sell? Selling is part of the business, isn't it? And when you have somebody or you have something, when you have an organization like Toastmasters, you have to promote it. It will always be the words coming out from your mouth. It will always be the action that you're going to do. So we should have that attitude of what? Of promoting the things that we wanted in life. And then this is the attitude of the poor. The attitude of the poor is that, oh, this problem is so big, I could not solve it. I have so much problem now that I could not know if it is already full in my left and full in my right. No. When we are positive, then we would always be thinking that we are better and bigger than the problems, so that we are going to overcome this problem. When we feel that we are greater, when we feel that we are bigger than the problem, then there will always be solution to the problem. That's why here in Toastmaster, whatever the challenges that we face, these are all very small compared to who we are, especially when we are together. When you are alone, maybe these problems will be bigger, but when we are together, then we are bigger and we are better than this problem. And that is positive attitude that you wanted to maintain as a Toastmaster. And this is the other thing that I wanted very much, especially for Filipino people, they are very poor receiver. When somebody give them, they're afraid or ashamed to accept it. And when you accept it, when you don't accept it, when you deny the gift or the blessings that given to you, do you think that other people is going to give you the next time around because you already denied the gift that given to you? Yes, of course they could not. So when you are positive, you are going to what? What you're going to do when somebody is going to ask you or to give you some gift or some favor? You are going to say thank you, thank you, thank you. That's the only thing that you are going to say. Why? Because the universe is going to give us a lot of blessing. But if you are not a good receiver, do you think the universe is going to bless us? Yes, of course, no. So in order for us to receive more, we should be a very good receiver. And what we're going to say when we receive something, you just say thank you, and thank you. That is the positive way of doing it. Now, I will ask people, was that who among you here is paid monthly or paid bi-monthly or weekly? And then they're going to raise their hands. And I said, so in other words, if you are not going to work for 1 week, you are going to paid by that week? It was no. So how can you say that you are paid weekly, monthly, when if you are not going to work, you will be paid? Because we thought that we are working by time. No, we should not accept that. We should be working by the result of what we have done. If we are going to do always or the result of what we have done, then if we think that we do for 1 week, we can do it in 1 day, then it means that additional income we're going to do if we're going to do the same for 7 days, and we will be paid 7 days instead of 1 week because of doing the same thing only. So we should be paid by result. And what's the other one? That we should always be, we should not say that my income is very big. Because what happened if your income is very big and your expenses is also the same? In other words, it is not, and it is not positive. We should always work on not how much we are paid or how much we receive income, but how much left after we have received that income. All of us here can ask how much money you are receiving every month in your salary. If that is very big, then do you think you have as much as savings? Because if you don't have, then those people that are receiving less will even be better if they have a lot much more savings than you. And then, of course, this is the opportunity. So why people are so poor, even though they are receiving a lot of money? Why they are still living from paycheck to paycheck? Because the moment that they receive their salary or their paycheck, immediately it is spent. So what is it? You are mismanaging money. So what we have to manage your money. We should be our own money manager. What do you want to be your own money manager? In other words, you should know what investment you're going to go through and how to do them. And then these are the very, very what I believe very popular. No, we always work for the money. And if you always work for the money, the moment that you stop working, then you are what? You are beggar again. You are poor again. Why? Because simply, you work for the money. Why not you make the money work for you? Because the money, when it's working for you, is the best. The money don't rest. The money don't take break for lunch, for dinner. The money don't sleep. Money will continue working. But in order for you to understand this, you should understand that you have to manage money correctly. And money should be working for us. Because today when we are young, we work for the money. But the moment is going to come when we are going to stop working. And when you stop working, are you going to get your salary? No. So who is going to work for you in order for you to continue living? Then that time, the money that you have saved and invested should be working for you. And then this is what we're going to do also. The poor people feel that, yes, I'm afraid to do this because I'm scared. So you stop. But you know, the best attitude is that you should be courageous enough. If you feel that it is fearful, that it is dangerous, but in spite of it, you still continue. And that is the attitude of the winner, attitude of the rich. Poor people think that they know already so much. They have this very dangerous 3-letter word in English. You know what is this word? I know it. When a person say that he knows it or he knows everything, then finish. That individual is not anymore growing. Why? How can we grow if we already will tell everybody that you know everything already? You know it already. Have you attended the Toastmasters? Toastmaster, I know it already. So you are not going to attend because you know it already. If there is something new, a new investment that is very good, you'll say, you know it already. So do you think you're going to continue? No, you are not going to. Why? Because you know it already. Here in Toastmasters, as well as a leader, you should always believe that we continue to grow because we continue learning. It is therefore necessary that for all of us to continue growing, whether it is professionally, whether in our leadership, whether financially, we have to continue learning. And we learn not only from ourselves, not only from the books, but we learn also from people. And that is why we come together. That is why we learn from each other. We are always teacher and student to each other because what we know, I know. I don't know. What I know, maybe you don't know. And sometimes we have to listen. Because I believe in order for us to learn, we have to listen. If I am the one who talk, what I am talking, I already know. For us and for me to learn, I have to listen. And I believe I have already delivered my piece. Good afternoon to all.
Wow. Thank you so much, Didi Joey. Wow. What an energetic start for today's event. That's really you're setting the tone right now for the meeting. Thank you so much, TTM Joey. What a lovely presentation. This is something that we really need as not just as Toastmasters, but as a human being, financial literature. So thank you so much for such energy that you had today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Let's move on to the next presenter who has been eagerly waiting to present as well her part. She joined Toastmasters in 1st May 1991. She has 3 DTMs, 2 on the legacy program and 1 in pathways. Wow. She served in every club officer role except treasurer 3-4 times. This is amazing. She served as TLI chairman for 2 years and have been division director twice before, going into cabinet as PR manager, CGD, PQD, and now she is the district director since July 2020. What an amazing introduction. DTM Mirel Juber with a speech title or workshop title, Closing the Sale. Closing the Sale, DTM Mirel, we're all here eager to hear from you. Please help me welcome DTM Mirel to the stage. And I would remind you to pin the timer, please. And
thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I want to tell you a story that happened a couple of 100 years ago. 2 salesmen were sent to Africa from Europe. They were shoe salesmen. And after they'd visited 5 or 6 different African countries, salesman number 1 wrote a letter back to Europe to say, no opportunities here. Nobody in Africa wears shoes. Salesman number 2 wrote a totally different letter back to head office in Europe. His letter was stated, pack as many boats with as many shoes as you can and send them to Africa because no one wears shoes. We will sell millions of shoes. Now, here's the hard question, ladies and gentlemen, that you need to ask yourselves. Are you salesman number 1 or are you salesman number 2? Are you the salesman who only sees challenges and obstacles in their life, in Toastmasters, in their personal life? Or are you salesman number 2 who sees opportunities? Now, if you are salesman number 1, I strongly suggest that you do the mind shift to salesman number 2 and start seeing opportunities instead of obstacles, to get creative and think of out-of-the-box strategies to resolve your obstacles in your personal life, in your professional life, and in your Toastmasters life. Now, why is this important in terms of closing the sale, converting that guest that comes to your Toastmasters club into a member? Because if you are salesman number 1, the minute that guest gives you the first obstacle, you'll cave and you'll buy into their obstacle. However, if you are salesman number 2, then you will create opportunities where the guest has challenges. Now, as Toastmasters, if you believe like I do, with every fiber, with every cell of your body, in the absolute wonder of the Toastmasters program, in the fact that the Toastmasters program allows people to become the best version of themselves, then you will be able to sell Toastmasters. Now, here's another hard question for all of you. How many people have you robbed this last week? Now, some of you might say, no, I haven't robbed anybody. But you know what? If you have not spoken to every single person that you have come into contact with about Toastmasters, you have robbed them of an opportunity. And as District Director Joey said, you've got to believe in your product, and you've got to introduce your product, whether it's on a business level or a Toastmasters level, to as many people as possible. Now, here's an interesting fact. You might have noticed when you look at your face that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Now, why do I think that's interesting? The reason I think that's interesting is because you should, as a salesperson, use them in those capacities. So you should be listening twice as much as you talk. And I often hear people talking about how the conversations that they've had with guests. And I realize that they are talking far more than they are listening. Because if you're wanting to convert a guest of Toastmasters to a member of Toastmasters, or if you want to sell your product, you need to actually hear what the needs of that person is. Because if you don't listen to their needs, then you cannot offer a solution. Because that's what people buy. They buy a solution to a problem that they have in their lives. And if you cannot solve their problem, then they are not going to buy from you. So, how many of you, just by a raise of hands, have at least 10 elevator pitches in your arsenal when you're speaking to guests? Or when you're speaking to people in the queue in the supermarket? Or when you hear something online in an online meeting and you contact that colleague, that friend, that family member after the meeting? Because if you don't have at least 10 elevator pitches, then you're not going to be able to switch gears to hear and be able to resolve that person's needs. I'll give you 3 examples. When I'm speaking to I suppose I should call them men, but they're not quite men yet, but males between the age of 18 and 23, I will say to them, how would you like to be able to walk into a room and speak to any woman in that room without the fear of putting one foot into your mouth and then exchanging it for the other? And they all go, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. And I'll tell them, come to Toastmasters and we'll show you how. If I'm speaking to millennials, then it's like, are you ambitious? Do you want to succeed in your career? And they go, yeah, of course we do. So come to Toastmasters and we'll show you how. And the third example is those people who think or believe, and they may well be great speakers or great leaders. And they don't need Toastmasters because they're already a good leader. They're already the CEO of a company. Or they already have their own business. And it's like, you have so much wisdom. Why don't you come to Toastmasters so that you can share that wisdom with our audience? So that you can share what you have learned in life with people who come into our organization, so that you can prepare them for what lies ahead of them. And they will go, okay, yeah, that sounds great, because they want to impart their wisdom. Now, the interesting thing is, those are often the people who grow the most. I remember a few years ago having a conversation with someone who I went to go and see. This was pre-COVID, so it was an in-person training. And yeah, he was a great speaker. His message was good. And I went and I spoke to him after the training. And I said, you know what, you were absolutely fantastic. But I would suggest that you join a Toastmasters club. He's like, well, why should I? I've been a professional speaker for 10 years and been paid really well for being a speaker. So I said, no, absolutely. I cannot agree with you more. However, you can share your wisdom with other people. And in the process, you'll probably learn and develop your skills. Very, very sort of dubiously, he came along to a Toastmasters meeting. And that very night he joined up. And about, I don't know, it's about 5 or 6 years later, he's still a Toastmaster and he promotes Toastmasters wherever he goes because it had such an impact on his life. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're wanting to convert a guest to a member or a potential customer to a customer, then you need to believe in your product and you need to listen. Now, in our environment, in Toastmasters, and in many other environments with a product, there are a lot of objections, but 3 that I want to talk to you about today. The first objection is often money. Post-COVID or during this COVID pandemic, a lot of people have lost jobs. A lot of people have had reduced incomes. There's a lot of economic pressure. But when I speak to an entrepreneur and I say to them, if I could add to your bottom line in your business, what would that be worth? And you know what? 90% of the time, it is more than what the Toastmasters fees are. So when I say to them, okay, so that's what it would be worth to you, well, come and join Toastmasters, because through the networking, through the presentation skills and the leadership skills we teach, you will add to your bottom line. Another big obstacle that we often come across is time. I'm so busy. I've got a personal life, I've got a business life, I've got these hobbies that I don't have the time. But if you can actually get that person to understand that their goals will be easily achieved through the Toastmasters program, that they will achieve their goal far, far quicker by being a Toastmaster, they will buy into the product. I spoke to an MBA student a couple of years ago, and she said, you know, she likes the program, she does believe in the program, everything she's seen looks great, but she's about to start studying for her MBA, and she's just not going to have the time. Now, remember what I said to you, you've got to listen and then speak. So I listened to her and I understood her concerns. And I then said to her, well, do you actually realize that at the end of your MBA, you have to stand up and do a presentation, and it counts for a large percentage of your marks? She was like, yeah. I said, so how will you feel if you've done all this studying, you've spent all this time doing your MBA, and your presentation skills let you down right at the finish line? Needless to say, she signed up on the dotted line. The other big objection we have in Toastmasters at the moment is that we're online. Now, I don't see that as a challenge. Do I miss in-person meetings? Absolutely. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, this is our new norm. Many big corporations will never again have conferences overseas where everybody from all over comes together, because it is more cost effective to be online. Many meetings, even in countries where in-person is allowed, a lot of meetings are held online because they are cost effective and they are time effective. And unless you master the art of this online platform, you are going to be left behind. So anybody who says to you that they will only come back to Toastmasters or only join Toastmasters when we're online, you need to explain to them that that is not okay, because this online environment is the future. It's not a temporary fix. It is the future. And if they stop learning their leadership skills, if they stop investing in themselves until they can do that kind of investment in person, they're going to go backwards, because the skills that they have right now will become rusty and will deteriorate. So the best thing for them is to get hold of this online platform, embrace this online platform, and make the most of it so that they can actually become the best version of themselves, so that they can stand out head and shoulders above their colleagues, above their peers, so that they are noticed by the people that matter. And in closing, I want to say that there are two of our corporate clubs who, when they went through retrenchments, the HR department put every single person who was a member of the corporate Toastmasters Club off the list. And why did they do that? And when I spoke to them, these were the answers. Because these people in our organization were prepared to invest time in themselves. They were willing and wanting to hone their skills. We want those kind of people in our organization. So they were excluded from the retrenchment process. Now, isn't that an amazing sell? Isn't that incredible for people to understand that now more than ever, their presentation, their leadership skills, and their online presence is vital to their future. Without that, they are going to only go backwards. Now, Mr. Timekeeper, I know that you've given me a green light, but according to my time, I've only got 5 minutes left. Is that correct? Mr. Timekeeper?
Toastmaster
Because
Decemberan.
I'm supposed to finish at 4, so I'm sorry, I'm a little bit off sync
No,
here.
it's, you are just 15 minutes and 30 seconds.
We just started a little bit late. Okay, no, that's fine. All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Sorry to have interrupted my presentation. I had my own stopwatch going and I had a different timing. But ladies and gentlemen, I can talk for a long time about converting guests to members and not robbing people of the opportunity. Pre the pandemic, I think I'm the only person that I know who was really upset if I got onto the plane and there wasn't someone sitting in the seat next to me. Because if there wasn't someone sitting in the seat next to me, how could I get them interested in Toastmasters? I can't convert a ghost to Toastmasters, but I can convert people to Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are in an online meeting in your company, listen to what people have to say. And if you hear someone saying in a management meeting, for example, oh, my team is not meeting their deadlines, I don't know what to do. Make a note. Give them a call afterwards and say, you know, in that meeting, you said your team is not meeting deadlines. I have a solution for you. If you come to Toastmasters, then we will put you on a curriculum that will help you with team collaboration, team dynamics, and will resolve this issue for you. You will make sure that your team meets the deadlines, that they are a cohesive team that want to work together. But unless you are paying attention, you're not going to hear the cues. So wherever I am, whether I'm in a queue in a supermarket, whether I'm in an online meeting, I'm always listening to what people are saying and writing notes to myself to say, you know what, that person needs this curriculum. That person needs this path. I was at a virtual dinner meeting last week with friends and people that I didn't know. So everybody, we have a group of friends and everybody had to bring a friend to the dinner party. So half of us all knew each other and half of the people didn't know each other. And there was a woman at the dinner party who said, you know, she feels she has a gift for coaching people. She loves helping people. And you know where I'm going with this. I made sure I had her number and I gave her a call after the dinner. And I said to her, you know, you've got this yearning to be a coach and helping people. If you join Toastmasters, there's a whole course which will teach you how to be a coach. And she was like, oh, that sounds fantastic. So ladies and gentlemen, you need to listen, as I've said before, listen twice as much as you speak. And you need to actually understand the Toastmasters program and believe in it intrinsically so that you can actually get people into meetings and then get them converted from a guest into a member. And I want to leave you with the following story. Don't ever give up. Don't ever assume. And what do I mean by that? Well, the first one is never give up. Because generally people say no at least 4 to 5 times to anything. And maybe they don't say no exactly, but they procrastinate. Now, I was introduced to Toastmasters in high school through a youth leadership program. And I promise you, I was so upset to hear that you had to be 18 to join Toastmasters. And I vowed that day that I would join Toastmasters when I turned 18. Yeah, well, you know what happens, ladies and gentlemen? Life happens. And I remember seeing an advert for Toastmasters. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's the thing I wanted to join. And then I saw something else. And I saw something else. But you know what? It took me from the age of 16 when I was introduced to Toastmasters and vowed I would join at the age of 18. It took me another 5 years to join Toastmasters. And I joined at the age of 23. Because why? Not because I didn't want to, but life happened. So don't invite a person once and when they say no once, say, oh, no, they don't want to be part of this. Because they just might need a little more nudging, a little bit more pushing before they come and join a meeting or join a club. And the second thing is, don't assume. If you believe, like I do, that every single person walking this planet would actually be better off if they were part of Toastmasters, then you won't look at someone who's a good speaker or a great speaker, or look at someone who's a good leader or a great leader and say, oh, no, they don't need Toastmasters. Because you know what, ladies and gentlemen? They do. We do, and they do. Mr. Moderator.
I'm speechless as a CGD. I'm speechless as a president. What can I say, Didi? Muriel, thank you so much. That's the least I can say to all of what you said. And definitely, if I wasn't now a Toastmaster, I would definitely join Toastmaster. So for those in the room who are not Toastmasters, welcome to the world of Toastmasters after what you said, Didi. Thank you so much for such a lovely, and you were yourself. Thank you so much for that. Yes, she deserves another round of applause. Thank you so much, Didi. Great. audience, we heard from two DDs, one about financial literature, the other about closing the sale. And both of those DDs are outsiders. So let's see what our DD would say today in his part. But before I call on our DD, let me give his introduction, which I just stolen from someone. I'm being very frank. I stolen that introduction from Toastmaster Atira Menon. So for the record, if you hear me, Toastmaster Atira Menon, this is yours. A vibrant leader, a member of Adari Toastmaster Club, Grandmaster, an admired leader, a versatile social work maniac, I second that. A lighthouse for many aspiring leaders and winning champions, passionate trainer, Gavel Club promoter, who has held almost all positions in club, area, division, and district level. No problem is the tagline for this enthusiastic leader who can fix anything and everything when it comes to Toastmasters. He has been in Toastmasters since 2002. And I can tell you, I'm learning from this gentleman as District 20 Director. Please help me welcome our District Director with a speech title or workshop title. You in your speech. You in your speech. DTM Muhammad Salim.
Moderator, may I interrupt you for a second, please?
Of course you
What's
can.
the time criteria, how the last speaker need, if you can?
Yeah, it would be the same thing unless there is anything special, Vice President of Education. Or if you can hear me, DTM Muhammad, DTM Salim, if you can say it yourself.
I think we should put our district director on the spot and go with our own timing. Let him follow our lines. No, he agreed for the standard timings, 20, 25, 30.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Great. We have also, yes, we can see you. We can see you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. So, brother, I think the introduction is done. Actually. So we move on to the speech today. What we are going to talk about, you in your speech. The most important element, most of us miss that element while doing the speeches. And how many of you, by raise of hands or just participate, tell me are participating in the international speech contest this year? Yeah, we have Faraz, brother Faraz. Is there anyone else participating? Because most of them I see are the area or the division directors, but those who are participating this year or next year can really take this steps. Actually, most of the time, what happens is that people fail to put you in your speech. Actually, I don't know. Many of you might be wondering what is that you in your speech. Because let me just share my slide here. Just 1 second. Because I'm logged into 2 devices because I couldn't connect my. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet, DD Salim.
Yeah, no worries. We still have a lot of time here. You can see my slides. Right? Yeah.
Yes, I can.
So a lot of the contestants fail to put you in your speech. That is where they come and complain that I didn't win this year's speech. They started cursing the judges, and most of the judges in Bahrain are losing hair, including me. Because since until last year I was a judge and I lost a lot of hair because of the curses. And you know who is the senior most judge in the Kingdom of Bahrain? Any guesses? Okay.
You don't have hair.
So if you can look at now, Sanjeev is started losing hair, Sanjeev Mohapatra, because of this reason actually. And one person has already lost fully, and because of the curse of most of the contestants, actually. And they fail to understand that why did I lose? Rather, they keep cursing the judges actually. The you factor is most important actually. I always tell whoever approaches me in the contest, where are you in the speech? Because I did the same mistake those days actually. Back in when I started contesting, I had this element of contesting, wherein I brought a speech about crucifixion actually. If you know much about crucifixion. It is a prehistoric way of torturing or putting someone to death on a cross. Actually, this is normally done. Whereas for Prophet Jesus or Isa alayhi salam, he was put on cross. We have a different theory about it, but in general, the faith is that he was put on cross to carry all the sins of people. You all agree with that, right? That's the general faith. We don't want to get into details of or get into debate of it. The general faith is that he carried all the sins of human beings. Actually. Similarly, I did do a speech comparing with the crucifixion with those children who are affected with AIDS. Those children, it was not those fault actually, but they were carrying the sins of their parents or someone else, whereas they were affected actually. That was, to be very honest, a wonderful speech comparatively, because what I did in this speech was I spoke about Prophet Jesus or Isa alayhi salam at the beginning, how he carried the sins of the people. The latter part I spoke about the children who are affected with AIDS. And in the conclusion, I brought two similarities telling that this is the story. It was indeed a wonderful speech, but it didn't make it actually. So that is where I was wondering that what went wrong in the speech. The second time when I did this similar speech, I spoke about something of thinking inside the box. Many of them know about this speech. Now, what happens is that people normally tell that think outside the box. For the change, I told them start thinking inside the box. People were wondering what is he trying to say. Then I mentioned about my friend who was very ambitious to become rich and stuff, wherein he didn't spend time for his family, whereas he is dead today. Inside, he was in a coffin. So I compared the box in as a coffin, and I just try to justify telling that don't go after materialistic thing, spend time with your family and friends. Again, what was missing? The you, that's me, missing in the speech actually. So unless I could have done the speech more effectively if I was there in the coffin, but again, the point is that it adds value when you put you into that perspective. So you factor is a key element actually. Now I did a speech. It was a wonderful speech actually. I spoke about Superman, Spider-Man, and Batman and the superheroes. It was a wonderful opening, and I did compare the CNN heroes of 2010. Like this is Narayanan and this is Koirala. From these two people, they got the CNN Heroes Award. And what I said that you don't need to see superheroes in the attire of what they are. There are superheroes among us. And that was indeed a wonderful speech actually. I did a comparative study. So it was again failed in terms of at the division level, it failed because I again was not there in the speech actually. So I was always thinking that what is that you element most important? Remember that if you are not there in your speech, then you are the biggest loser. This is the most important thing we always tell them, that your presence in the speech is more important. Now, you might be wondering, how should I present in the speech? What is the ratio of my being present in the speech is the key factor actually. That's what people all wonder. What is my ratio in the speech actually? Now, talking about this one, I think I shared with one of the audience is that the choosing the characters, the limitation of the characters. Now, what happens in a speech? We have too many characters in the speech actually. This is where we have some problems choosing characters. When we do a speech, what we do is we bring in our aunt, we are school teacher. If we divide the speech into three segments, normally what they do is we sit here, one segment, your childhood, your marriage, your current situation, something like that we do, and we bring in a lot of characters. End of the day, you are lost in the speech. So you do such speeches, limit your characters. I know this. Most of the mentors, they tell you, take three instances. For example, we talk about world champion Dhananjaya. What he did was, first time he spoke about his parents. Second, he spoke about the teddy bear, that we know who it is actually. That is the person whom he met in Toastmasters. Number three, he spoke about his wife actually, wherein three stories. This is where we bring it. But that speech was crafted well. We could vividly remember all the characters who were there in the speech. But still, if you look at that, there were maximum of 5 to 6 characters. His mom, his father, the teddy bear, whom we all know, and his wife. We have, including him, it's maximum of 5 to 6 characters. We are not adding more characters here. So do not add more than 4 to 6 characters in your speech actually. If you start adding more characters, then what happens? Your prominence is not there in the speech. This is the most important key element when you do it. The most important, this is something I just redid the graph actually. Normally, we choose a method called the problem solving method, which we do in the basic manual. That is the 7th project wherein we go for the problem solving method. Now, if you really look into the speech, actually, this is something I have taken and I've just modified for the sake of the Toastmasters actually. Here, there's something in terms of conflict. We don't look into the conflict into a speech at all. What we do is we just glorify ourselves or we degrade ourselves actually. So what happens is that until 3 minutes, I'll come back to the next slide and explain how it works actually. Until 3 minutes, you need to talk in general, where the latent conflict starts at 3 minutes. The eruption starts at 3 minutes 5 seconds, 3 minutes say 30 seconds, or then 4 minutes the conflict is escalation, and 5th minute you hurt somebody or you get hurt. That is the first part of it actually, 5 minutes. Now if you follow this pattern, okay, it's not that 100% you can win. The thing is, like, this is the pattern which I have been following and which I have been recommending members to follow this pattern, wherein this is somewhat proven in most of the international speeches. Now what happened after 5 minutes, it drops down to conflict mediation. What happens is that there is somebody coming to mediate you in your speech, and there is something called the self-realization at the point of 6 minutes, and 6.5 minutes it's your climax, and then you finish your speech at 7 minutes with your closing. Straight as that actually. Why I say 7 minutes, some of them might argue that no, we have 7 minutes 30 seconds and we should use that 30 seconds. No, if you can finish your speech in 6 minutes 30 seconds or maximum 7 minutes, please do. The worst thing can happen to a contestant is getting disqualified over time. So never ever go beyond 7 minutes, no matter we have something to say. There was one speech actually I was contesting in back in 2015. The speech was extraordinary because it's not from my heart actually, but people really came up and said that speech was extraordinary. What went wrong is that I finished the speech in 6 minutes. I thought that, okay, there is something lacking. So I started adding something to the speech. So what happened, that 30 minutes didn't add value, and there is something which happened behind the scenes nevertheless, but I lost that contest. I don't want to get into more details of it. So if you can send your message across to the audience in 6 minutes 30 seconds, not the audience particularly, I could say to the judges, because you are doing the speech not for the audience, it's for the judges. So if you can make them understand in 6 minutes 30 seconds, it's fine. Now you might be wondering, what is this climax? Not many people talk about climax. What they say is opening, body, and conclusion, right? No, did somebody mention to you about the climax before? Is there anybody know about some, which I really worked out on a climax? Yes, please. Now the climax, which I really coined out for term called climax, is for sending a message to the judges who are looking at their mobile phones, or they're scratching their head, or they're just telling that, guys, this is the climax, listen carefully. I am going to finish my speech and this is my message, listen carefully. You got the point? Okay. Climax is very crucial. What happens is that I'll give you an example. If you are in a movie theater, what happens in a movie theater? Did you know that the movie is going to end? You know what happens? You started gathering your popcorn, your handbag, your thing. You even stand up and look at the screen. You knowing that the movie will finish in 30 seconds to 1 minute, because there is a climax element already happened. What is the climax element? In Bollywood movies, the policeman came in, or father asking the girl, they're joining together. These are the symptoms or the elements where people understand that, okay, the movie is coming to an end. So let's prepare to go home. So similarly, you need to prepare the judges, wake them up. Somebody might be sleeping also. Wake them up. Come on, guys, get up. I'm going to give my message. This is the crucial message you need to listen, because judges might be thinking, when did he finish the speech? Okay, he finished the speech. I didn't notice that. So that is where we really don't send across our message. You got the point? Now, why I didn't start the speech here before 3 minutes? Because I'm not starting this here. If you look at this slide, I'm starting the speech only after 3 minutes. I have not started before 3 minutes. Why? Between 1 to 3 minutes, you need to keep the judges awake or glued to your speech. Because what happens normally is that the attention span of a human being in a 1 hour session is just 20 minutes. Now, what happens is that if you are having international speech contest with 5 contestants, that's 1 hour, then your attention span is only 20 minutes you are going to have it. So how can you grasp the time from the judges the first 3 minutes of the speech? Once you finish the 3 minute, you got attention grabbing, then what happens? Then you can play around until 6.5 minutes and wake them up, bring them back, again convey your message and finish the speech. I'll give you one example. You might not be accepting it. I'll give you one example. What happens in your examination when you writing your examination? Your teacher starts correcting your paper. You know what she does? First page you have written nicely, neatly, everything. So teacher says underlined everything. Okay, full marks. Second page she says, okay, this guy is very capable. Second page everything okay. She ticks. Third page she ticks. Now what happens? You have written 10 pages. She doesn't look into all 10 pages. She assumes that okay, this guy is good, so let me give him full marks. She starts ticking correct, because teacher cannot focus on all 10 pages for 100 of the students. I think brother Ali will agree, because he has been correcting papers for ages. You don't have time for attention for so much of time. So what happens? You look the cover page and see okay, this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. So your main aspect is to keep the audience or the judges glued for the first 3 minutes. Then you do all your drama or the speech. Come back at 6 minutes, 5 minutes, wake them up. Ready? I'm going to give the speech. Once you give the speech, thank you very much. You finish the speech. That's the limit. So you need to, if you're having a conflict within your speech, try to follow this method. Now, next part, what is your role within the speech? That's most important thing. Many of them wonder, what is my role within the speech? First thing is that first 3 minutes, you're a comedian of the speech. You entertain the audience. You keep them glued. Okay. So that what happened? You have a glue with the audience. You have a connection with the audience. After that, you transform to a villain. Villain in the sense that your conflict happens within yourself or with the next party, or the next party is having a conflict. According to that person, you are a villain. Now, third party, you are a hero. Now, what happens? People start projecting themselves as superheroes. No, you're not a superhero. What happens is that the person who listens to your speech is in your shoes and assumes himself as a hero. You get the point? You are not projecting yourself as a hero. Never do that. I have done this. I have achieved this. This is what. You are inspiring the audience. Make them feel that at one point of time, they also feel that, yes, I am also a hero. I can be a hero. Just one example. You go to a Jackie Chan movie. Once you come from a Jackie Chan movie, what is the one thing you will do? You will start breaking something. You will try some kicks. You will be, right? So this is common. Yes or no? Because you try to be as a hero of the movie. So that impact is still lingering on your mind, and you are trying to show that, yes, I can also be a hero, right? 2 days, you watch an inspirational movie, say any movie about a millionaire, then what happens? Your mind starts working. How can I become a millionaire? What is the point? But after 2 days, it dilutes. After 2 days, that heroism dilutes and you don't go for it actually. So whatever you do, don't project yourself as a hero. The audience should feel themselves in the shoes of you, and they also should feel that, yes, I can also do it. Yes, what Faraz is telling is correct. What Khalid is telling is correct. Yes, I can also become a hero tomorrow. So don't project telling that I become a millionaire, I made millions of money. No, that is where your conflict or your issue comes, or you resolve issues with your family or your friend or your cousin or somebody, your boss for that matter. Don't project as an hero, but make sure that you are matching, synchronizing with the person or the judge you over there. Because most of the times I would like to see myself on the stage. I have seen a couple of speeches where I realized that, yes, I am part of the speech and I am there on the stage. That is what the most important thing. When I say comedian, you're either you can make fun of somebody or you can make fun of yourself. or keep a lighter note wherein you can bring in, wherein you can take it. Any speech for that matter. If you take up any world champion speech, not the inspiring speech, some of the speeches which are based on personality or personal, then you can see this character. You can still go ahead and see some of the speeches wherein, for that matter, you can even talk about Katani or Dhananjaya or any speaker or of this nature. You can find them similarity of these type of things. Actually, the conflict is always there. Okay. Now, what happens is that no matter how many characters are there, you need to be definite in the speech. You cannot be diluted with merged with other characters of the speech. Now, here you have a conflict. Normally, when you speak, you do have a conflict. What happened? Let's take a husband-wife story. We both are having issues. Okay, there is an issue wherein I beat her, or end of the day she beat me, or something like that happened. Okay, there is a scenario wherein there is an issue. Okay, or I raise my hands on my daughter or my thing. What happens? That there's a conflict at the peak, and there is one thing. What happens after the conflict? You go and sit down isolation. That's what most of the time happen, right? Many of them, I would ask, why is that? After a conflict, we men mostly try to walk away from the place. Is because we don't want to escalate it, actually, right? Second thing is that we want have some sort of a self-realization. Okay, self-realization should happen in a conflict. But do you agree or not? Anybody wants to interrupt here? You can just ask me any questions, please. In a conflict, what happens that you realize after 3 days. You know that? Do you know that? You realize after 3 days. Most of the cases, when you have a fight with your wife or your spouse, you will take 3 days to realize that it was your mistake. Okay. Until then, you maintain silence. You might not talk to your wife. The wife might not talk to you. It takes 3 days for you to realize that what I have done is mistake. So what happens is that realization part is the key in any speech, actually. Now, how do you bring that realization? You cannot make yourself realize. Unless and until we are a saint, we go to a mountain, sit on the top of a mountain and make a realization. It normally doesn't happen. So what happens? The self-realization, we need a person in this self-realization process. It could be a boss, it could be a wife, it could be a daughter, it could be anybody for you to make them realize. Don't even make your self-realization for yourself. Don't bring it, project it that, oh, I went there inside the room and I got the thoughts. No, it should be an external factor who makes you that self-realization. If you start resolving your own issues in your speech, for example, we talk about Manoj Vasudevan. What was his speech about? Anybody wants to say about it? Manoj having a conflict with his wife, right? He had an issue with his wife. Yes or no? Okay,
Yep.
no. Who is the mediating factor in that particular speech?
It's his mother or the mother-in-law, right?
Not mother-in-law doesn't do that, actually. Okay, mother-in-law escalate the conflict. It's mother who comes and resolves the conflict, actually. She says that bend down, So don't expect your mother-in-law, Faraz, don't expect your mother-in-law to come and resolve the conflict. It doesn't happen in most of the cases. Okay, this is the mother who comes and resolves the conflict. Okay. So now, most of the times what happened, once you finished everything, your realization, everything is open, then what we start doing is you start preaching. Now you have to take care of your family. You have to take care of your daughter. You have to take care of your wife. This preaching starts, actually. Okay. So this is where many of us fail when we start preaching. Never ever start preaching in your speech, actually. Don't put that you factor here. It is always we. We factor has to come whenever you do a speech. We have to take realization has to happen. We need to take care of family. We need to give priority for our health. We need to give priority for our children. We need to prioritize our, these things have to be we. After a certain point, after 6 minutes of your speech, don't put the word you in your speech. There is nothing called you in your speech. It's always we in the speech. You got the point? Okay. These are all my thoughts actually. I'm not forcing anything. It's all up to you. But generally, after 6 minutes, there is no you in the speech. You in the sense telling the audience, no, you have to do this. You have to do it like this. Because even pointing finger to any of the audience might be offended. So when you go and preach them, they start that, what is he talking about? He had 1001 problems with his wife and he's coming and telling, take care of your wife. It doesn't matter, for the audience. So, okay, so you need to put we there. From you will be shifting to the we. Now, talking about, we already discussed about the climax actually. Climax is something what we are going to tell that, guys, I'm going to have one more slide to finish it off. Okay, that means I'm preparing the audience who are feeling bored, telling guys, don't worry, I'm going to finish my speech in another 5 minutes. This is where I come into the picture. Okay, always, okay, at the end, never leave a sad ending. I remember the Korean guy, Kwang, I think, 2013, he was there in Dubai, and he told us that never ever leave your audience in a sad note. Never. Always there is a happy ending, no matter what. Always there should be a happy ending. That means no matter what conflict you have, what issues you have, whatsoever, try to resolve those things before 6 minutes, 30 seconds. And when you come at 7 minutes exactly, leave the audience with a happy feeling. Okay, what happens in a movie also? Even in a movie, you will find that always there's a happy ending. Very few movies you will see a sad end. In most of the movies, you will find that the couple will, join together, or the issues has been resolved. So always try to bring in a happy ending. If it's not a happy ending, that means the speech is yet to go on. That means you have another 30 seconds. Okay. So always leave your audience with a happy note. Never leave them with a sad note, because that is where it makes a lot of impact. Okay. With this, I would be concluding. What is that? If anyone wants to ask any questions, please, you can ask questions. I have another 5 minutes, I believe.
We will, Didi Salim, if you allow me, we would definitely have the questions in the panel in a while. So,
okay, great.
If you are done here, should I take over?
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, thank you
so
very
much.
With this, yeah, thank you.
Didi Salim is leaving us in the climax. He didn't come to the closing.
Thank you so much, Didi Salim, for such a wonderful flow of the curve, right? Along with the end of it and the climax. And by the way, just for the record, I've seen one of the slides that you had. One of the slides were already taken, and members are already engaged in whatever you said, and they are already applying it. So thank you so much for such a wonderful speech or workshop.
Thank you.
Yes, he deserves a round of applause, please. Round of applause
to
Didi Salim. Thank you so much, Didi Salim. Great. We heard from 3 great Didis. Didi Joey, Didi Merrill, and Didi Salim. And I think now is the right time to have questions. So we will open the floor to questions. If you want to send the questions privately to me for any one of them, or in the chat box, please feel free to do so. And if I can maybe spotlight them, let me see if I can do this. Not as good as our Vice President of Education, so I'm trying my best. Yes, Didi Joey is here. I was looking for Didi Joey. Add to spotlight. Brother Salim, can I spotlight you, please? Yes, let me do that in a minute. Add to spotlight. And I can even add myself. Oh yeah, managed to do it without the help of the Vice President of Education. Excellent. Great. So are there any questions, or should I shoot from the questions that I had? Let's start with my own. Let's start with Didi Joey.
Yes, sir.
Didi Joey, brilliant financial literature, I think. But I don't know why, while you were presenting, I thought I remembered the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. And whatever you were saying, we're all relevant to that. You were just flowing, and the energy as well that you started was really brilliant. My question to you, Didi Joey, Toastmasters, do you think, how can we complement what you said in the Toastmasters? Yes, thank you, Didi Salim. In the Toastmasters self, what is your recommendation to the Toastmasters curriculum when it comes to financial literature? So if you please comment.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and of course our CTG, our moderator. Well, that's why in the beginning I already introduced that supposed to be a Toastmasters are servant leader. But you know, if you are going to serve people and you have problem with your finances, then you have two questions that is very heavy. Which we are going to do first? Serving others without doing fully what is your financial obligation to yourself and your family, or you take care of your finances first so that when you bring all to those masters, you're not only be speaking but also helping. It's like if you wanted to, if you are going to preach, you say, well, what's that? If you have problem, we are going to pray. Isn't it good that when we pray, we give them also what they need? I need tuition for my children. Or then you come and we are going to pray. Why not we give you the tuition for the president and then we pray together? So that's what I wanted also in Toastmasters, that if you wanted to help others, then let us do our financial activity and be financially free so that we can be really a servant leaders to others.
Guys, thank you so much for such a response, Didi Joey. I think if I knew about that, I would invited all of the treasurers of District 20 to hear what you said right now, because I'm chasing them for payments. That's great. Thank you so much, Didi Joey. Moving on with the next question. I really learned a lot from you, Didi Morel, today. On definitely when you said the 10 sales pitches, I think I really need to work out on this, and I need to have more sales pitches than just you that I have over there. I got into tough customers, and trust me, I remember maybe Didi Salim also relate to that. It was one of the doctors. I have my HPL project is to have it was basically for Kuwait and Bahrain, but currently we are just successful with one club, Bahrain Medical Fraternity Toastmaster Club. Until yesterday, I had also an open house, and so far we have only 14 members paid. So we are looking for those 3 so we can also complement them with Toastmasters. And one of the doctors, honestly speaking, I tried all of the pitches that I know. And she said, well, their medical sector, we are really good in speaking. We don't really need to have Toastmasters. I tried so much, and I really could not really, at least for that person. So my question to you, is there any line where you say, well, okay, well, whatever I'm selling, maybe this is not my buyer? Please comment.
Absolutely. I truly believe that probably 80% of the time you will get it right if you listen and you talk to them. But there are some people that will not hear what you have to say and will not buy your product. And the best thing that you can do for yourself and for that person is to then cut ties. If someone is not going to buy your product and you've tried and you've tried and you've tried, then cut ties, because that person is not going to buy your product. So rather move on and spend your time with people who are going to buy your product. So yes, I do believe that 80% of the people, if you approach it correctly, will be converted from a guest to a member, but there are those people who won't. And I use the example of McDonald's and Burger King. If you love McDonald's and you hate Burger King, you're not going to go to Burger King to order your hamburger. You're going to go to McDonald's. So if that person is a McDonald's fan and you are selling Burger King, you're not going to convert them. And you need to draw a line in the sand and stop and actually say, you know what? My time and my energy is better suited to spend with people who will buy my product. So yes, there is definitely a line in the sand.
Oh, good. Thank you for making me feel at least relieved. I thought that I should really have pulled the doctor leg, but yeah, I think that's my conclusion as well. I stayed for like half an hour trying left and right, but well, whatever I'm selling is not really getting through. So I said, okay, thank you so much, and we moved on. That's great. Didi Salim. By the way, I said before, so I also on the record, I said I usually deal only with one DD, and today I'm having 3 DDs, so it's too much for one CDD. But but I can't really get enough out of whatever you say, Didi Salim, throughout the term that we have. And I've seen you several times. This is maybe the third workshop that you conduct for international speeches, and every time you have your own flavor to it, and this is also totally new for me. My question that I would really just shed, maybe just to shed some light for those new beginners. Now I'm there, I am in my speech. Now, how can I convert, especially at the end, how can I not make myself as a hero? Because we've seen so many contestants do this, and instead of showing what they've been through and give it on a plate for the audience to take it home, they just keep, and as you said, they keep on lecturing. So what is really the magic there? Is there any magic words that we can use there, or how can I see that transition?
Yeah, the basic, as I mentioned, that when you remove that you factor towards the end of the speech and combine the audience towards we, then you can attract most of them actually. Then you're appealing to most of the audience. You're connecting to the audience. Most of the times we don't connect with the audience because we start preaching, telling them with the you factor. So that should be totally avoided when you do a speech. So as a newcomer, when they come here, they get a bit overexcited and they get into this you factor, because what happens is that there's a totally contrast when you see Gavel speeches and the international speeches of the adults. In Gavel speeches, all this what I have told is not applicable. Most of the Gavel speeches, they go with a common message telling that, talking about pollution, talking about child labor. That is where you can expect, or it is expected from a child. A child cannot come and speak about a self-realization, a transformation, which I normally don't recommend, and not judges look into those aspects. You need to see the child as a child. I don't want my child to be over matured and coming and talking about something, advising parents. No, that doesn't matter, But the same child in your speech can be advising you for that matter, and that person can make you part of your self-realization process. That is where it really makes a huge difference. So connect with your audience with we towards the end of the speech, and not mention that you have to do these things. This is a combined effort. This is where it really makes a lot of difference.
Great. Thank you so much, Didi Salim. And just to go round back again, I'll start with you, Didi Salim, as well. Looking at this nice graph, also I saw it as well in other groups right now, people are just taking photos of what you said. It looks very simple, right? This is what you have to do, self-realization at the end. But what is the reason there that we don't really have the champions that we really intend to have. But where aren't we getting it right?
Okay. Let me give some example actually. First thing is that they don't go with the intention of winning actually. You know, if you are not going with an intention or a challenge to win, don't participate. Give others a chance actually. Just because you got through at the club, though it's not that you have to go through the area with the same speech, and division with the same speech, and district with the same speech, just because you won at the area. I tell them the battleground is different at each level. So you need to fine tune your speech at each and every level based on the input. Actually, second thing, they don't have a mentor. They think that having a mentor is something derogatory, or the speech would go out. Actually, the third most important thing which Aditya Maheshwaran told me, that when he lost to Manoj Vasudevan in back in 2017, 2018, I asked him what was the reason of, because you were having a clear edge over Manoj Vasudevan, but there is something which really didn't happen. So he told me something very crucial actually, which I always tell all the contestants, that you cannot have a win-win situation when you do speeches. For example, you cannot leave at the mercy of the judges telling that, guys, I have done my speech, please do place me first place. Never leave at the mercy of the judges. You understand what I'm trying to say? I'll tell you, I'll give an example. If we have an edge over the other contestant between 5 to 10 or 15 percentage, that means you will not make it. Means because you have 6 judges or 9 judges, so each judge variation would be there, and you would be placing second or third, you know, if you leave it at the mercy of the judges. What would be the minimum requirement for you and the second place winner is edge over 40 percentage. This is by Aditya Maheshwaran, who told me, if I don't have edge over my fellow contestants over 40 percentage, then don't even come and complain about the judges. Don't give me excuses that no, I should have been first place, that person was. If you really look into certain speeches, in end you will see that, okay, no matter what, this guy is clear winner. How many of you have seen in World Championship, when you do judging in World Championship, no matter what, there is a clear distinction between the first place and second place with 40% margin. We don't give win-win situation at all. Oh, please, the judges will mark it. 3 judges will vote for me. 3 judges might not vote for me. When you look at the tally sheet, you will understand that. So always go with a winning attitude, telling that, no, I will surely win this contest. I want to win. Go with a winning attitude. Second, never keep a mentor always. Actually, having a mentor is not that he should have been a world champion before. Keep a mentor who gives time for it, no matter what. I'll give one example actually. 2012, I was contesting in division contest. I normally tell this actually. 2012, I was contesting in division A contest, and my fellow contestant Rafi was contesting in from same division. And he came up to me and said, Salim Bhai, I want to contest in international speech contest in the same division as you are. We both are fellow contestants, but I want you to be my mentor. Can you imagine that he is asking a fellow contestant to be his mentor? Because he was approaching DTM Nomel in Philippines, but during that time there was some flood or typhoon happened and there was no internet connection. So the only option left for him was coming to me. And believe me, I sat down with him for 3 days. I gave him, if Mohammed Rafiq was there, he's here, he would understand that. We sat down, during lunch hours, we sat down every day, 3 hours actually, and we got his speech craft actually. Believe me, he won the international speech contest that year in the division level where I lost. The point is, he went up to the district and he was placed second next to Sam Coody. That much powerful his speech. The point is that you need a mentor who can give time for you. So the point is, it's not that is he a contestant, is he your, no, he should be able to spend time for you. That is where the key is. And I told Rafiq, do you think that I can do any justice because you're a fellow contestant? And if I give you any suggestion, will you take it in a manner that, no, this is a fellow contestant trying to put me down? He said, no, I really trust you. And I think you can be the only person I can trust actually. And that year, really 2012, he went up to the international speech contest and was placed second with all the 7 countries on board actually. And 2015, when he was contesting in Dubai actually. I told him, brother, we cannot get in due to some personal reasons. Then he went to Brother Ahmad Shukri. That's where Ahmad Shukri came up to me with due respect to me and asked me, brother, are you coaching Rafiq this year? I said, no, brother, I am not coaching him this year. So then what happened? Then he accepted to be his coach. Because what happened is that we see some members taking coaches at different level. You take a coach at the club level, you change the coach at the area level, you change the coach at the division level, you change the coach at the district level. DT Mali would really accept the fact. Actually. The point here is that as a coach, what I'm getting is not paid actually. There are some paid coaches who get paid, but I don't spend time for coaching. I don't charge money. So what happens is that in that context, what I get is only the recognition part. If I am being deprived from that recognition, then I don't like to be a coach for any member. So that is where it really matters there actually. Oh, thank you, brother Ahmad Shukri. I didn't expect to be here. So
Yes,
sorry if
yes.
I just quoted your name. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Didi Salim, for the thorough answer to the question. Yes, I think that's what we really need to know and need to have as champions, as mentors. And the 3 DDs are really available for your mentorship now. I'm just kidding. So
May I ask a question?
Yes,
May I
yes,
ask
please.
a question?
Please, Toastmaster
Okay.
Deepak.
Okay. Question is to Didi Mariel. So today we heard about using you. We heard about to become how to become a rich and right attitude, and I heard about selling. All the speeches were good. So the question to you, Didi Mariel, how to use this you factor in selling so that you win the customers, give solution to their problem, and become rich. So that is my question.
Yeah, so in Toastmasters, what you'll become rich in is not financial gain, but with the gratitude and watching these people grow. But the same attitude actually helps you from a financial point of view. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then you need Toastmasters as well. Because Toastmasters gives you self-confidence and it gives you the ability to become the best version of yourself. So from that, you'll find a monetary compensation. Through Toastmasters, I earned, because I was a salesperson for most of my life, and through Toastmasters, I earned my biggest commission check because someone referred business to me because they'd seen me in the Toastmasters environment. They'd seen me in a leadership environment within Toastmasters, and they knew that they could trust me and that they knew that I would deliver on the product. So I got my biggest commission check from a referral from my Toastmasters network. But to answer your question, give me an example of what you see as a huge objection, and then I can try and overcome it.
Toastmaster Deepak, you're muted.
Yeah, okay. Normally, huge objection is that, see, in selling, the competition is huge. And yeah, and always, it's always money, money, money. And then always we try to sell value, we try to sell a solution. All this is true. But the main factor is, yeah, competition and money and, yeah, all those things. So this is the main hurdle in any game of selling.
Okay. So the way I can answer that question is just like what our moderator, when he asked me, is there a line that you cross in the sand? Now, I promise you, the best salesperson in the world would not be able to sell me a Porsche right now. I don't have the financial income to afford a Porsche, and not only that, I don't want a Porsche. So there's no way that that person is going to overcome my objections to buying a Porsche. So you also need to look at your customer and gauge them for who and what they are and what they need. And if you don't or can't supply their need or fulfill their need, then walk away. There's an old, which gives my age away, Johnny Denver's song, where he says, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to walk away. Now, he's talking about a poker game, but it's equally important in the sales game, is that you need to know when you've got the cards in your favor. In other words, you have the solution to the customer's problem, and then you hold them. But then there's also a time when you need to fold, because sometimes the fear of loss from your perspective as a salesperson or a converter of a guest to a member, your fear of losing that person is greater than their need. So you've got to lose that fear. You've got to be able to say, you know what, I fold. And more often than not, that customer comes back to you. When you say, okay, I'm getting the feeling that you're not interested. They go, no, I am. Just, I have another question for you. So you folded and they come back. But then the most important part is know when to walk away. And that is the key to being a great salesman, is knowing when to walk away. Because when you walk away and you know that you've done what you can, but this is not your customer, it's okay. Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much. Didi.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Great answer.
very well said.
I like
Very
it.
well said. Didi Marel, there is also another question for you in the chat box. It says, it's talking about the 10 elevator pitches that you said. And he's saying, can she share a few of the strongest ones?
So you say that again, a few of the what?
Of your strongest 10 elevator pitches that you had.
So for those of you who might not know what an elevator pitch is, the term comes from America, as Toastmasters does. And the idea is that when you walk into an elevator, you have between 45 seconds and a minute to pitch your idea, to pitch yourself. And an elevator pitch is to get someone to ask you another question. So yes, you've got to actually be authentic within yourself, because if you take an elevator pitch from someone else, it's not going to be authentic. But my best elevator pitch, which is one of them that I shared with you, is, are you ambitious? Do you want to succeed? Because put your hand up right now, especially after Joey's speech, if you don't want to succeed, if you're not ambitious, if you don't want to be rich. We all do. Okay, so that for me is the biggest elevator pitch, is to say, are you ambitious? Because very few people will say, no, I'm not ambitious, and very few people will say, no, I don't want to succeed in life. Most people will say, yes, I am ambitious. Yes, I want to succeed in life. And that really works very well with entrepreneurs and people that are in the corporate environment. The other pitch that is one of my best sellers is to say to people, what are you doing with your life? And they then give me an answer, whatever it is. What are you doing with your life? What are your goals for your life? And then I listen. And then I adapt my elevator pitch to suit their needs. Because let's be honest, every single one of us on this call today and in the universe, what do we want? We want to feel needed, we want to feel appreciated, and we want to feel heard. And when you give another human being those three things, they will trust you and they will buy into your product. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much, Didi Marel. So wonderful answers for and wonderful question. Yeah, wonderful question and a wonderful answer. Thank you so much, Didi Marel. Didi Joey, Mr. Finance Man.
Yes, sir.
There's a question there for you. It says, especially during this pandemic right now, you touched based upon the pandemic and you said that it's really not an excuse. But at the same time, we really have, not just in Toastmasters, I mean, talking about real life, we have so many who are really having tough time maintaining their job. So do you think, out of what you said, it's not really an excuse, what would you say to those individuals?
Well, that is the problem. We have already the problem, and the solutions had been done before. And that's why we wanted you to be prepared. Because part of the problem why we lost our job and we worried about it is that we are not prepared. We should be like ant, isn't it? They said, if you wanted to get the lesson in finances in the life, then you study the ant. The ant has to prepare when there is sunny, and because they know that the rainy season is going to come. And that's what we are in Toastmasters. Why we are preparing? We're not preparing because it's already raining. We're preparing because we know that rain is coming. And part of that is the proper and correct financial education. And we should be, and we should know as Toastmasters. That's why when I bring people to Toastmasters, look at yourself. Do you know that you have to study before you will be employed? So in Toastmasters, you are there because you wanted to strengthen, to sharpen your skill in order to be employed, promoted, and also true in financial preparation. We have to, as they said, it is not raining when Noah prepared the ark. So we should be as Toastmasters not ready because there is a contest. We should always be ready every time.
Oh, yes. We, as Toastmaster, we should be really born ready. That's how it is. Thank you so much, Didi Joey, for a great answer as well to the question. There's one question there. I'll open it up for all of any of the DDs to take it up. It says, do you think there would be a hybrid method to hold Toastmasters meeting after we control this pandemic? Question is on the table. Any of the DDs can answer. Yes, DD Merit, go ahead.
In some of our countries, we are with in Southern Africa. We have 9 countries, and in some of our countries, the social distancing has been relaxed completely. So they are having what are known as hybrid meetings. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity because there are people that are at risk for COVID. So even though the rules have been relaxed, they're still high risk people. Now, you don't want to exclude them from your meeting. And so a lot of the clubs are doing these hybrid meetings. And what that is a group of people gathering face-to-face in a place, and then the rest of the members are coming in via Zoom. The real key for these meetings is to have a good internet connection and at least 2 or 3 cameras around the room so that the people who are coming in on Zoom can see the whole room, that the people that are in the room can see all the people on Zoom. So it is technically quite challenging, and where we're having the best success with hybrid meetings is in the corporates, because of course they already are geared for that. And it is a really interesting experience, and it's a combination of, and it is a wonderful experience. And I think that we should have more training sessions on how to conduct a really good hybrid meeting so that we can take that out to our clubs as things move along and we are almost back to normal. As I said earlier, I don't think we're ever going to get completely back to normal. I think a lot of clubs are going to stay online, and a lot of other clubs will actually do the hybrid meeting. I don't see too many clubs only doing in-person meetings because that's the old-fashioned way of doing things, and they will lose members. They will lose members to those clubs who are hybrid or online. So I think we need more training on how to do hybrid meetings, but I think it is the future. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Great, thank you so much, Didi Mirel, for answering that question. Other DDs, anything to add, or do we move on to the next question?
Yeah, I think what's that, we are going to continue doing this because of this pandemic. This new word of hybrid meeting has been created, and it was going to stay. Imagine if before we were going to spend money in order for us to have a face-to-face meeting, then other people that could not afford it but still continue to benefit the that we have in our meeting will still going to continue attending, and this will be an added factor in Toastmasters. That is why we are moving from the face-to-face platform into the new technology that Toastmasters has been starting, because we are prepared. And because of this preparation, we are much better than the other organizations that did not do this online and technology changes. So I believe Toastmasters prepared for this, and this is going to be part of our meetings from now on. And it will give a very big factor for our continued growth.
Exactly, that's the new norm. Well said, Didi, Joey. Thank you so much for sharing your thought. I have a question to Didi Salim. Didi Salim, are you around? I know Didi Salim is at work, and he managed also to get in. Yes, Didi Salim, great, you're here. A question to you, Didi Salim, and I'll just say it as it is. It's a bit of a sensitive one, but I'll say it as it is. It says, what do you think about sensitive content? And the example was given, the speech of Toastmaster Patrick Hammond at World Championship of Public Speaking Finals. I fell in love with a prostitute.
Okay. That was, I think, 4 years back, actually. And still people remember that speech, actually. If you really look at the title, which is a bit sensitive, but if you really go through hear the speech, that was one of the best speeches I have heard. The way he had put the person, he was a short person, but the way he was a jailer, or and that speech really is still in my mind, actually. But people misinterpret on the topic, and they come to judging very soon. So in that context, actually, we shouldn't judge by the title or the cover of the book. We should really go through the speech, and it was indeed a best of the speeches, I could say. So again, when we talk about the title, there's a wrong norm that we shouldn't talk about sex, religion, and politics. That's something which we need to really tell our members, that you can talk sex, religion, politics in your speeches, but it shouldn't offend the other person. Actually, if you're talking about religion, yes, my speeches are based on religion. I sugarcoat those speeches. That is what really I sugarcoat them. Actually, for example, thinking inside the box. When I mentioned about the speech, this is from the books, from Quran. It says that the person would be still thinking when he's still in the, once he's dead, he would be still thinking about his family. This phrase I've taken from the Quran, and I have done a speech on based on that, is thinking inside the box. My speeches, most of the speeches are from the scriptures, and I encourage members to go and read your scriptures, and you will find speeches actually. Since I know about the crucifixion, I didn't want to debate on it, but I did a speech on crucifixion, edifying that Prophet Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, carried the sins of the people. I didn't get into the details or the negative aspect of it, but I spoke on a positive aspect of it. I have spoken on Mahabharatam, I've spoken about the scriptures like Gita, Ramayana. On many occasions I have spoken, but never ever I have derogated the religion as such. So you can really speak on religion, you can speak on sex, on politics, but without offending the other person. Again, going back to the speech, I see a lot of comments coming up from members telling that this speech would really touch their hearts, and we need to really leave a legacy while doing the speech. Forget about the topic. That is something which I really don't focus on the topic. When I do my speeches, I go to the contest here and I tell them, you write a topic and I will connect my topic later. That doesn't matter. Just what I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Didi Salim, for answering a really tricky question. Thank you so much. Well said, Didi Salim. There's one final question in the chat box that says, how long you can work to close a deal? I have made it in 3 years, but worth the wait. Any of the DDs can answer that? I felt maybe it's relevant to DD Merrill, but any of the DDs, please feel free to shoot an answer.
Sorry, can you just repeat the question? I didn't quite get the first part.
Sure. It says how long you can work to close a deal. And then he commented on his own experience. He says, I made it in 3 years, but it was worth it.
Okay. Well, if we're talking about membership, then the one thing that I know from my own experience is that there's one common thing that almost every single Toastmaster has, and that is a regret. And what is that regret? That they didn't join Toastmasters earlier. Almost everybody that I've seen at international conferences that I've spoken to around the world, that I've spoken to within my own district, they go, oh my gosh, if I could have only joined Toastmasters in my 20s, I'd be so much further along in my career. I'd be so much more mature in my life, because I joined Toastmasters in my 30s. And if I look back, it really, if I'd done it in my 20s, I'd have been so much better. If you're talking about your actual Toastmasters journey, and that's why I was a little bit confused about the question, it's an interesting one. And it depends on what a person's motivation is. Why do they want to become a DTM? Why do they want to go through the process? Now, I was every single VPE's nightmare. Why? I took 22 years to do my first DTM. Because I had no interest. I was learning. Was I doing everything for the DTM? Yes. I was starting new clubs. I was doing speeches. I was coaching clubs. I was doing all that stuff, but I'm not a good admin person. So before someone forced me to actually collect my admin, it took me 22 years to get a DTM. And what happened was, myself and one of my area directors, when I was division director the first time, he said, you know what, Meryl, I'm going to get a DTM before you. And I was like, not going to happen. So the interesting thing is I got my DTM 3 days before he did. So this is the wonderful thing about Toastmasters, is the flexibility of the program. What you put in is what you get out. What your goals are is what Toastmasters will support you to achieve. And I hope that answers your question, Deepak.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, TD Merrill. In fact, it was a Toastmaster Bitambaran question, but that's okay.
Sorry.
Anyone wants to take any say on that same question?
Let me just add something to ATM Merrill. Actually, we grew together 3 years down the line, actually, because we were CGT, the PQD, we were there during all the trainings, actually, and what she has told is very clear. One thing what I would like to add here is the value selling concept, which was taught to us in Chicago. Not many people are clear about value selling, because I coined a term called value added Toastmasters, because we add value to our Toastmasters when we go and present to people. Actually, we just go to people telling that, please, why don't we join Toastmasters? Why don't we have it a corporate club from your company? As if we are asking that we are going to be benefit out of it. 20% of the total membership fees will be coming to us. That is the way we approach corporates and members. As if we are doing a network marketing concept and we are bringing members to build a huge downline, and we'll be getting concurrent commission from the members we bring in. That is the wrong notion we are giving it to this. Who needs more? Please keep this in mind, that who needs more. Sound a bit arrogant actually, but please keep this in mind, that you're going to change life of a person when you bring him into Toastmasters. You're going to change the corporate thinking when you bring a Toastmasters club in the company. So who benefits more is they benefit more than what you're benefiting. We are just like the candles who just shed light, and we just brighten the hall of life of other people. So go with the notion that, yes, you need more than me selling this Toastmasters. I have millions of people out there whom I can go sell, but it is going to make a huge impact in your life, in your company. If we follow this principle in life, we don't need to go and ask members that, please, can I start a Toastmasters club in it? So this is where the value selling concept, this company, which was hired by Toastmasters, shed some light actually. If a company approaches you asking you, Khalid, can I start a Toastmasters club? Say no. Why do you want to start a Toastmasters club in your company? Why is that you want to join Toastmasters? Ask them back. Tell them that what is that because I don't need a member. I can really make it. I'm going to make a huge difference in life because the person who brought me into Toastmasters, or I really respect him even today because he made a huge impact in my life. He made a big change in my life. Actually. If it was not there, then I would have not reached to this height actually. So we are changing lives and we are not going and begging anybody for membership. And that shouldn't be the concept. We are not going to let any member, any guest or anyone think that no, he is coming and asking me, why don't I give a try? No. Again, one more thing is that we need to really add value is that it's not about doing speeches. See, there is one thing which I really believe in, the 5 step of, I did once the workshop on prospecting a member actually. When you do a prospecting a member, there are 5 stages in a prospecting a member. What we do is we follow step number 4. No, don't follow step number 3 and step number 5. There is 5 stages. We normally go with step number 4, whereas we go and tell them, this is Toastmasters, please join. Whereas there is 3 steps before that and 1 step after that actually. If anybody wants to know more about it, please do approach me. I will teach you the 5 stages of prospecting a member or 5 stages of prospecting a club actually. Again, one more thing, the question you asked me, let's go back to that. The thing what you asked me is how long does it take? You know, for example, St. Paul Toastmasters, when we chartered St. Paul Toastmasters, that was the first club which was there in the prospective club list. And that was the club which we chartered on the 30th of June, 12 o'clock midnight actually. The reason was that the club had the papers, they had the money, everything. We introduced the club, we didn't close the deal. We were expecting that they will call back, wherein we just wanted, just 1 week before we called them, brother, what about your club? You are the first. Sir, we have the money and nobody approached us. We didn't close the deal actually. There are certain things happen in this. There are clubs, when we talk about DHL Toastmaster, this club we presented 6 years back actually. And one fine day says that nobody came after that and we want to charter the club. So there is a time factor involved into that, but really take it to any member telling that it is going to change your life, not my life actually. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Didi Salim, for such an answer. You remind me of St. Paul Toastmaster Club. Yeah, definitely. That's one thing that we really closed the deal in the last moment of the term. There was one question. There's one question for you, DTM Salim, as well. It says, when we prepare for our speech first, we write speech. Let me know approximate how many words should have for 7-minute speech.
Okay, now talking about there's something which we really talk about, the rate of speaking. I don't know how many of you know about the rate of speaking, because I speak 180 minutes of the 180 words per minute. There are some members speaks 140 words actually. Ideally speaking, it should be within 150 words if you really calculate. So 7-minute speech should no longer be more than 700 words. Because one thing what we really miss out is the pauses we really fail to make during speeches. If you really look at the world champion of public speaking 2013, it was Brazilian. If you really look at his script, it was hardly 450 words. Can you imagine? Brazilian speech, Brazilian from US, when he did the change by the tire, if you really look at his words, it was only 450 words. He had the longest pause in terms of history of Toastmasters International Speech Contest, because most of us don't count the pauses. We just count the words of the speeches. Actually. So ideally speaking, between 600 to 700 words should be an ideal speech contest you can prepare for actually, but don't go beyond 700. Sometimes you might have, because most of us, when we go to the stage, we get hyper and the adrenaline pumps fast. So in this context, we start speaking very fast actually. Even for me, my mentor, when I joined Toastmaster, he told me that, Salim, you're speaking more than what you are thinking. So that's the reason I speak very fast actually. But things didn't change much since then. But ideally speaking, let's stick on to 600 to 650 words maximum and focus on more on pauses. And that should be a right apt speech when you present it on for an international speech. And don't count your words actually. Only thing is, like, the judges don't know that you are under time or overtime. The judges, all they know is that the speech is finished. They don't know the timing. They don't time your speech. So whereas in your club level, yes, the evaluator know your timing, but judges, they don't know the speech. Even if you finish 6 minutes, they will not come back and say that you should have used your 7 minutes, 15 minutes. No. Did you know? He doesn't know about it. If you can give an impactful speech in 6 minutes, go with for it actually. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Didi Salim, for such a rich answer. And talking about rich, and I will end with this comment. There was one comment with one of the attendees to Didi Joey. They're saying, can I have Didi Joey teach my kids financial literature? So this is just a comment for Didi Joey. Do you want to comment on that? What's really the effect?
Well, really, if there are parents who wanted their children to be better off, I believe we have to start early as far as our financial preparation is concerned. Why? Because investments ally is time. So the earlier that you start, the bigger the opportunity for you to make small into bigger amount of money. So if you are going to check about money, well, we better start early. Or you're going to make a very, very big mistake if you're going to be late, because everything will stop when you are 60 and you will be breathing, but everything has already stopped. So what we're going to do, it's already too late. So that's why we have to start early.
Yeah, well said, Didi Joey. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Let's just have closing remarks, and let's start with ladies first, as they say. Didi Merrill, last few words.
Thank you so much for the honor and privilege of being here today. And I really have enjoyed the session. I think it's been incredibly informative. And in closing, I just want to say to all of you, here's a challenge. In the next week of your life, do not rob anybody of a Toastmasters experience, Mr. Moderator.
Wow. I think that would stay for a very long time. Thank you so much, Didi Merrill, for such a wonderful closing remark. Didi Joey, any closing remark from your end as well?
Well, for me, have you heard of the saying, life is like a game? So if life is a game, then how do you know that you are winning? It means the only know that you win the game is that you should have a lot of money, isn't it? So if you have a lot of money, then you are winning the game of life. Remember, the mission of Toastmaster, we should have personal growth. You could have only personal growth if you have also financial growth. Good evening.
Wow. Well said, Didi Joey. Any final remarks from your end, Didi Salim?
Thank you very much, brother. One thing I really believe in is called the rhythm. The acronym rhythm is for raise yourself to help mankind. That is what I believe in. So it is either you raise yourself to a level where you are financially or knowledgeable so that you can reach out to members or anyone and share your knowledge. Actually, that is what we as Toastmasters have been doing. The purpose of me joining Toastmasters was to help develop a initiative which I started back in 2000. I joined Toastmasters in the year 2002. But after joining into Toastmasters, I fell in love with Toastmasters. I really gave up that initiative because the aim was same. One was raising others through financial, and here raising through help through education. So I felt this is much better in terms of raising others. And since then, I've been helping out to maximum members I could actually. So I think I have achieved my goal joining Toastmasters back in 2002 in 18 years. I think I have done justice to what I have, the purpose of being into Toastmasters. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Didi Salim, for, I call this self-realization. Thank you so much for closing remarks. Audience, please give a round of applause to our panelists today who did marvelous job. Each topic was closed very well as well and relevant to the audience. I think I envy the audience, whoever came in here today. They got a pack of experience, and I count myself as the first one. in here. Thank you so much. And let's just go to very quick. Toastmaster Deepak, you want to have something very quick? Please shoot. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So let's just have a small token of appreciation from BAT, Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club. And I would ask our Vice President of Education if you can help me out. He is raising his, is it yes or no?
The certificate guy has just joined. I just said, give me a minute. You'll see two of me now. One fellow is Faraz Farooq, the other one is Faraz Farooq, the certificate guy.
Okay, okay.
He'll be sharing the screen now. So I'm ready when you are, sir.
Sure. Go ahead. You can share the screen now whenever you are ready.
Okay, so we'll start with speaker one.
Please, please. Didi Joey, thank you so much for coming here today and giving us your brilliant topic. I think this is not just for us as Toastmasters, as the last member of the audience rightly said. We really need to teach our kids the financial literature, apart of course from being a Toastmaster as well. So thank you so much. Please accept this small token of appreciation on the behalf of the members of Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club for enriching our event today with your brilliant topic, financial literature, poor or rich attitude. Thank you so much, Didi Joey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you to our audience.
Thank you. Moving next. Is it me stuck or? Okay, it's not me. DTM.
Me, my internet is terrible.
Okay, okay. DTM, Meryl, what can I say? Whichever word that I would be really saying, I learned a lot from you as a CGD. I really would wish that I heard from you at the beginning of the term. Closing the sale with 10 elevator pitches, I really would work right now on my pitches and have more on my arsenal. Thank you so much. And please accept this small token of appreciation on behalf of Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster Club members. Thank you so much for enriching our event today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Last, but definitely not the least, he is a person that he has been with me in the ups and downs since the beginning of the term as a trio. DTM Salim, I don't think it's just me who is learning from you. Your 18 years of excellence in Toastmasters and all of your service that you have been given to Toastmasters, I'm speechless to that. And please accept this small token of appreciation on behalf of Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster
It's really
Club.
hard to be here. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You and your speech. Well said. Well said, Didi Salim. Well, before I end, I think our IPRA, the place has been taken by his kids, but that's also great because we love to have the the young generation in here. Can we have a group photo and with a brilliant, our Vice President of PR who can take the photo, group photo. So may I ask everyone to switch on their cameras, please? Whoever can. So yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I think we are getting more right now. Guess Sheila, are you around? ETM Ahmed Rizvi. Okay, I think this is our audience so far. Yes, Guess Sheila is here. If we can have you posing for the group photo.
Yes, I will. Yes, please.
Go ahead.
3, 2, 1. Thumbs up with a smile. Say cheese.
Cheese.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. We made it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. It's an honor to have all of the guests around and definitely an honor to hear from the brilliant three speakers. It's not really an official meeting of the club to adjourn it, but please call this as adjourned. And we would love to hear from the guests all around. And whoever wants to take a leave, we would be forever grateful that you came here today and Bahrain Advanced Toastmaster meeting, all this gold with this version number 8 and counting. And I think every time Vice President of Education raises the bar even higher, and each I think all this gold is I think the quality of the meeting. Okay, I shouldn't really say this as a president, but I'm just paying justice to the efforts being done in here by the ExCom, DTM Farhaz, DTM Zahra, and the names were given, by the way, by DTM Ali Shahbaz. I think DTM Ali, the names you gave, I think I'm forever grateful to the names that you gave. Thank you so much, everyone. Any words from the guests? And let me